Let's go Tennessee beating Auburn first in what was, I thought, a high-level, quality basketball game. And one that, and I know this sounds stupid, but I feel better about Auburn in the NCAA tournament. I feel better about them now than I did before that basketball game. Tell me why that's the case.
Well, I mean, they had an 8-point lead until Dalton Knecht just goes absolutely bananas in the second half. And that guy, I just, watching him down the stretch, it's like, how was he even guardable in his league last year?
Lance, he was not even first-team all-conference. We keep going back to that. I mean, figure that one out.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like to go back and watch that guy and see if he just blossomed overnight or if he played anything like this last year.
Did he grow 2 inches?
No. I mean, he's what, 6'6"?
6'6".
Yeah, I mean, but he can do absolutely everything. And I think his game is really, it's NBA friendly. I think he's going to be really good at the next level. I think he's going to be a lottery guy. I don't think there's any doubt he's going to go in the top 10.
I don't know what Auburn could have done more in guarding him at parts of the game. And even when he went on that run, and the great stat is, Auburn is up 63-55 at the under 12 timeout. And then Dalton Knecht outscored Auburn 25-21 in the final 12 minutes of the game.
That's incredible.
It's a crazy stat. And if you're watching that, some of those shots were highly contested, hand in face, jumping with him. He's just out jumping him with a high release and draining him from way beyond the arc.
Yeah, I mean, here's the Pearl quote. Dalton is terrific. We thought we had guys who could guard him. When he went downhill, we could have offered more resistance. I don't know. I agree with you. I think the difficulty of the shots. And when he's taking it to the rim, there's only so much you can do about it. And somebody over in the chat is saying, Knecht may score 50 against Bama. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I mean, this could be his Pete Maravich moment in Coleman Coliseum.
That was actually a whole topic I had down for later on. I think the Coleman Coliseum record, I don't know if it's urban legend or a real record, but it's Pete Maravich 60-plus, that time back in the 60s when he came into Coleman Coliseum. I assume that is the most points ever scored by anybody in a Coleman Coliseum basketball game at the college level. I'll throw a lot of disclaimers there.
Yeah, boy, you did.
But Dalton Knecht, the way Alabama's playing defense right now, could scare them if he so chooses.
Normally in the NBA, when you have a guy go off like that, it's not necessarily good for the team because a lot of guys are standing around and watching, and you'll see a guy score 40 and the team will still lose by 10. But, 20 points is a lot. And that's what's, and I know we'll get to Mark Sears in a second. That's what's so impressive about Mark Sears. He goes 20-plus every night, it seems like. But when you go 39 in a college basketball game, it's hard to beat that team.
I will say this, and we do this often, but if I had given you these numbers yesterday during the show, I would have said Auburn is going to shoot right at their season shooting percentage, which they shot 45.8. Auburn's a 46% shooting team on the season. They're actually going to shoot better from beyond the arc than they do on average. They're going to shoot almost 41% from beyond the arc, 9 of 22. They're
40%.
Yeah, they're 30-some-odd on the season. I don't have it right in front of me, but they're in the 30s. So they outpace their normal three-point shooting percentage. They're right at their actual shooting percentage. They're 21 of 28 from the stripe, and they scored 84 points. So I've given you those 4 pieces of information. You would have thought Auburn won by what?
It's Tennessee on the road. I would have thought Auburn won.
Yeah, I mean, you score 84 against Tennessee's defense. It's hard to stomach a loss.
That's exactly right. Bruce Pearl cut one, Rockstar. If you'll give me Bruce Pearl. That's what Bruce was talking about last night. Remember, this game was 46-43. That was the final score last year in Knoxville between two of the great defensive teams in the country.
No Dalton Knecht.
There was no Dalton Knecht, but 46-43 was the final score. It was 44-40 at the half last night. That's how good these two teams were playing, and it wasn't all easy baskets either. It was a lot of contested games. Bruce afterwards on one that he feels like got away from his team.
You score 84 points on the road, playing for a championship. That ought to be enough to win. Our defense definitely let us down. And obviously Dalton was terrific, and he was really hard to stop one-on-one. He made a lot of tough shots, a lot of shots that were contested. Probably disappointed in 2 things. One, when he went downhill, I thought there were times when we could have offered more resistance, more help off the ball. We didn't. And then I thought that I thought Ziegler getting downhill against us was a huge factor. Janai Broom did everything he possibly could offensively. We had some pretty good balance. Again, you score 84 points in here, you should be able to win.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if there was a way you could go back and take Bruce after the Kentucky loss and Bruce right there, two different people.
And that's what I was going to say, Brent. I don't disagree with Bruce often because coaches are coaches and they know their teams better than me. I'm just a sportscaster and a fan. But I thought the way he was playing after the game last night was sort of the wrong tenor. And as I started off, I thought this Auburn team showed me that they have a little backbone that when you get neutral site in the NCAA tournament, and he probably is telling his team that that's for the media and everything, but that team, if they play like they did last night in Knoxville, will be a tough out in the NCAA tournament. I don't know how far they could go. Jimmy Dykes was talking, these are two possible Final Four teams, and that is a possibility. I don't know what more you could do defensively against Knecht, and I understand when he beats his defense and is driving down. But when you've got a guy like Ziegler, who is also terrific with the basketball, that makes it a double dose. And how many times are you going to get Vescovy not scoring but 2 points, and that's on a late heave by Knecht off the top of the backboard that he just happens to sprint to the basket at the right time, grab an awkward rebound, and lay it in for 2. Vescovy scores 2 points.
Yeah. Dalton Knecht's taking him away.
Yeah, it's a deep, experienced team, and Knecht just gives it another element they didn't have the last couple of years under Rick Barnes, and that's why the expectation is so great for this Tennessee team. But, that's just when you are, and you mentioned the 63-55, when Knecht can score 11 straight and 20 of their 23, when you have a guy like that in the tournament, and he had 2 fouls early in the game.
Right.
And so that was a little concerning for Rick Barnes, but if you can keep him out of foul trouble, Tennessee, they can win the national championship. I don't think there's any doubt. But I do agree with you. I think Auburn in a loss, it's about as good as you can look in a loss.
And I'm replaying it in my head on that little stretch, Brown. And it was like, what was the video game? It was NBA Jams, right? Where it was 2-on-2 and you start shooting and the ball lights up a ball of flame.
What did he say, Rocky?
He's heating up.
And dude, that's what it felt like. Once they got him the ball, he was sleeping in the corner and then he sprints out, as Jimmy Dykes would say.
Boom, shakalaka.
He grabs it and he's shooting. And sometimes it's 3-point range from the NBA. Yeah, I don't know what more you could do with that guy, and it's going to be interesting to see how Alabama attacks him. Late in the game, those officials were allowing Chad Baker-Mazara to – there were a couple of times he was wrapping his arms around him to keep him from moving, and they weren't calling a foul. And Dalton Knecht was looking at the official like, well, wait a second, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I don't know how you cover the guy.
I was in transition. I had to fill in for our buddy Will Haver at Odie's Trivia last night. So I was in transition from dinner to trivia. And so I was listening to Andy Burcham and the gentleman that does the analysis when they're on the road. It's not Sonny. It's another guy when they're on the road. And the guy was like, Andy's like, Dalton Knecht's on fire right now. And the guy's like, Andy, those last 2 were NBA threes. I just don't know what you do.
Contested.
Yeah, there's contested NBA threes. I really don't know what you do here. That was kind of his, he didn't say those exact words, but that was basically his point, is this guy's just firing it up from NBA range. And listen, you weren't there, Dunaway. Lance was. When you stand, we were on the court down at the Legacy Arena when they had the NBA striped out. It seems like it's twice as far as a college three, doesn't it, Lance? When you're standing behind that NBA line?
Yeah, those additional feet.
That's a haul.
What is it, a little more than 4 feet further back?
Yeah, but it feels like 10 feet further back. It is a haul to shoot from that NBA.
Didn't scare our boys from shooting, though.
No, we still flogged them up, trust me.
Not at all. And we didn't know if Jalen Williams was going to play, and he gutted out 21 minutes off the bench, but, he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, got 12 points, 20 minutes, and he did play.